Hello, I'm Alexandra Sleator, Career Accelerator. And that means that working together, you'll get to achieve your career aspirations faster than on your own. We can help you progress your career, for example, by devising a promotion strategy so that you gain the advancement that you deserve. Or we can help you repackage your skill set so that you can apply to that new job that you're interested in. And even within your current job, we can support you by either polishing skills that you already have or helping you develop new skills around things like communication, team management, influencing others, or even presenting, where most of us still have a bit of a case of nerves here and there. And when you think of career change, we can work together, for example, to quickly return you into the workforce after a break, whether it's maternity or sadly redundancy. Or if you'd like to make a complete career change, then we can help you identify this new career that you need to embark on. Whatever your project, I will ensure that we work together in a time and cost-efficient way. So, in this month's offering, I thought I would speak to you about delegation. And let me start by asking whether you are suffering from something called the Lone Ranger syndrome. That's a managerial disease, you see, that is afflicting more and more people who work ever longer hours, increasingly harder hours, because they think that only they can do something right. Has your manager told you that you should delegate more? Have you ever been told that you micromanage? Or do you know within yourself that you find it difficult to trust others with tasks? And if you find delegation difficult, what impact does it have? Do your employees grumble? Does your spouse grumble because you come home late and they don't get to see enough of you? Do your friends grumble because you can't join them at the pub? And what about you? What about the impact on your health or simply a sense of overwhelm? So if you are interested in delegating better, then this tutorial is just right for you. Because you see, in just a minute, I'm going to share with you a very simple and yet, I believe, quite powerful process to delegate well. And the outcome is that when you delegate well, you optimize your chances of good quality output at the end. But also you are comfortable, finally, with the process of delegation. And so even very skeptical would-be delegators can find a way to finally entrust others with tasks without having too much anxiety around it. So let's kick in. The first step, phase one, I call it the why phase. Now, this is not about why you need to delegate. Let's take it as a given that you need to delegate. So the why here is, why the task? You see, without some purpose, I would question why the task even exists in the first place. And maybe it should be abandoned rather than delegated. But creating a sense of purpose for the delegatee, for that person who's going to receive the task, is very important. Because if that task can be embedded in the greater scheme of things, you create a sense of strategy around the task, a sense of mission. Let me share with you the story of a janitor working for NASA, who described his job as helping to put a man on the moon. Now, the reality of his job was that he was scrubbing the lavatories, right? But he did it thinking that his small tasks contributed, and indeed they did, to put a man on the moon. Now, that's a great sense of mission. And when you have a sense of mission, you feel energized and motivated and engaged. So, in your own context at work, when you delegate a task, try and create that sense of purpose to engage your delegatee so that he or she will want to do the best that they can. You will tap into their enthusiasm and energy, even around a small task. and I will of course want to do very well at this task, because they will have a sense of being a cogwheel, even a small one, within a much greater mechanism. So that's why it's very important that you start with the why, the task, rather than the what. Because by doing that, you create this setting, this very positive emotional setting for giving the task. And so you follow up with phase 2, which is the what. And when you describe the task, remember the KISS principle. Now, it doesn't mean keep it simple, stupid, and it doesn't mean keep it simple, sweet. It means keep it short and simple. Avoid long-winded explanation at this stage of the what. In order not to confuse, in order not to overwhelm, you wouldn't want to deflate your delegatee, who is all motivated because you've given him or her a sense of mission at the why stage. You wouldn't want them to suddenly think, yes, this is a great task, but I can't do it, because you've overwhelmed them with details. So keep it short and simple. The next stage then, the phase 3, is the how. And this is the phase where you give instructions. So there can be a number of possibilities, but typically we can simplify these possibilities into 2 types of scenarios. Either they are clear instructions, there exists already a process for the task to be done, and in that sense you want to share that process, and it's probably better if it's in a written format so that the delegatee can go read it at their leisure, process it at their rhythm, and then maybe come back with additional questions. Again, you avoid the risk of overwhelm by giving a piece of paper that they can process as they wish. Otherwise, at the other end of the spectrum, it could be that there is no existing process, and so the delivery is not just the task, but it's the process to get to the task, and there the delegatee will need to use his or her own powers of innovation, creativity, all that brain power, in order to come up with both the process and the task itself at the end. And then, of course, there's everything in the middle, which is possible as well. You know, some pieces can exist and others need to be created. The other thing you want to discuss at the how stage, in addition to the instructions, is support. How are you going to support your delegatee in this task? Are you going to have an open door policy so that they can pop in whenever they want? That could be a bit disruptive for you. Or you're going to formalize it, for example, with a regular one-on-one where you catch up. However you choose to do it, find the frequency and the way that suits you both, so that for you as the delegator also you retain the right amount of control, so that you can ensure that quality is going to be delivered, and that you don't have a bad surprise at the end. With support, your delegatee will feel empowered and but also, of course, being able to rely on you, so not abandoned and yet not on too tight a leash. A third element around the instructions is a deadline. Most people work well to a deadline, so even if this is a bit open-ended, put a deadline on it, which will help with focus. So those are the core elements around the how. So this concludes really my very short tutorial around how to better delegate. Start with the why, a very KISS approach to the what, and then some core steps to cover in the how phase around instructions, support, keeping the right amount of control, and setting a deadline. So go on, have a go. See how that process can help make a difference in the way that you delegate. And I would expect that you will see some good results. Now, let me be frank, there is more to delegation than the process of delegation, which is what I've just covered. There are 2 very important other elements, and they are the what of delegation, which is what should you even delegate. There are clearly tasks that only you should do, and what are those that you should delegate. And that's an important decision point that people sometimes struggle with. Some people think they cannot delegate anything. And so that, then you can't even have a good way of delegating if you're not delegating anything to start with. The other important piece around delegation that I haven't covered is the whom to delegate. How do you pick the person that you're going to delegate to? And that's another very important piece of thinking. Too often I've noticed that people delegate to those they like in their team, to those they feel naturally common ideas with, that they feel they can naturally trust. And that may not be the optimal approach. So that's another challenge sometimes that needs to be addressed. But in any case, I hope that this will get you thinking about how you feel around delegating and how you delegate, and maybe give you some ideas to maybe change in that space. I would love, as always, to hear how you're getting on, what you think about what I've shared with you, and so my email address is appearing at the bottom of the screen as usual, so that you can email me if you should like to. In any event, many thanks for your time, thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to talking to you very soon. For now, bye bye.